Good afternoon, Facebook Live. This is Robin Kirby Gatto. We are coming today to part 2 of the ketogenic diet. And I hope that you come expectant and to learn new information that maybe you might not have known before. But today you're going to get information. Amen. All I know is since I've been on this ketogenic diet, it has absolutely changed my life. I'm also going to come on later on again today in about an hour and a half. And I'm actually going to do a word of encouragement, and that word is going to be a word of the Lord. So I'll be back on at about 2:30-ish this afternoon to give you a word of exhortation. And I'll only be on for about 30 minutes, but it is going to be absolutely amazing. So as you come on here today, get ready to learn more about the ketogenic diet. I see some of you coming on. Hey, Sherry Stedham, I love you. God bless you, friend. It is so good to see you. Good afternoon, Barbara Kirby. It is so awesome to see you on here. Hey, Sue Gailey. So good to see you on here. It is awesome and amazing to have you joining me today as we get ready to enter into more information about the ketogenic diet. Hey, Crystal Huerta, God bless you. So good to see you. So as you are getting ready for your Thanksgiving holidays, and again, FYI, I will also be on in about 2:30-ish and do a 30-minute exhortation and edification to exhort you in the word of the Lord, because we will actually be leaving for Virginia tomorrow morning very early. Rich and I are going to be heading to go to see his family over in Virginia and fellowship with them for Thanksgiving. So I will not be on Facebook the rest of the week. So I want to give you all enough of Facebook Live with Robin Kirby Gatto so you can look at the recordings. Amen. So I'll be back on at 2:30 again later on to give edification. But right now, we're going to talk about the ketogenic diet. And oh my goodness, let's pick up from where we left off yesterday. Oh my goodness, it is absolutely amazing. Yesterday, the battery life was going so low, and I was so afraid that I was not going to be able to finish yesterday's ketogenic part 1. So I hurried up and got off speedily, and I decided to do a part 2 today to give you all room to ask questions. If you have questions at the end of today for the ketogenic video, for those of you who have questions, please feel free to ask your questions. And we're going to get more into the ketogenic diet. I'm also going to get one more thing, because I know some of y'all didn't see the Dainty Blend yesterday, and I want to get that out so you can see it. Hold on one second. So let's learn more about this ketogenic diet. I've also got my 2 flowers over here. Later on, I'm going to be making some fathead pizza, which I love fathead pizza, and I'm going to be using my almond flour. We've got a membership at Sam's Club. I know Costco has it too, but we get our oils really, really cheap at Sam's Club. $13 or $11, I can't remember. For all of this almond flour, I think it's about $13 for 3 pounds of almond flour. Oh my goodness, that is absolutely amazing. So let's go into about today with the ketogenic diet, and let's get some more information. Yesterday, I mentioned briefly about the process of getting into ketosis, and we're looking at getting into ketosis with a ketogenic diet. Good morning, Terry. So good to see you on here. And I so love you and Curtis. Rich and I love you guys. I was thinking this morning, before I started ketogenic diet video, I was thinking this morning, I was so overcome with God's love and blessings of how He has blessed me with so many friends. And I just had to stop and ponder on that. And I know this is a time of season where we are just so grateful for the people that God has placed in our life. And so I am grateful for all of you, and thank you for joining in on my Facebook Lives, even the ketogenic video. That is so amazing. So we learned yesterday about ketosis, and we're talking about the ketogenic ketosis. We're not talking about the Atkins ketosis. Atkins diet is different than a ketogenic lifestyle. Ketogenic lifestyle has super high fats. We're talking about 75% fat, and I'm going to give you a menu schedule of kind of what I did at the beginning of the diet. But also, we see with the ketogenic diet, there is super, super low carbs. Compared to the Atkins diet, the ketogenic diet has even fewer carbs for the very strict ketogenic diet, which is what Rich and I normally do, except on our carb up days, which I'll get into in a minute as well. And so we have super low carbs at no more than 20 grams a day. And especially when you start the diet, you're wanting to look at about 200 grams of fat a day. And let me preface this Facebook Live Part 2 Ketogenic Diet that I am not a doctor, I'm not a physician, I am not a nutritionist, so please check with your doctor and nutritionist when you're considering this diet. I am simply merely giving you my journey and Rich's journey on this ketogenic diet since we've been on it for about almost a year and a half. At the end of this year, going into January, we will have been on the diet, which is a lifestyle for us, for a year and a half. And let me begin and preface this again with also that God told me the name of this diet. I did not hear about this diet from any person. God told me the name of the diet, told me to get on it. I had several physical issues. I did not want to live anymore because I was in utter misery. I felt miserable every single day, and my body just hurt all over. My lymph nodes stayed swollen for 2 solid years, would not get out of being swollen. I had fatigue. I had deep fatigue. I had pains all over. I had all these issues. I had acid reflux. I forgot to mention that yesterday. Severe acid reflux. I had all these issues with my throat, as well as what I mentioned earlier with my thyroid, with my adrenals, and also the cyst that I had and my acne all over my back. And I was just absolutely miserable. I could not get out of the bed. All I wanted to do was sleep. I was so miserable. And I just did not want to live life anymore in this state of condition. And God introduced me to the ketogenic diet. And immediately I started seeing results. After about a month, I saw a lot of those symptoms going away. My lymph nodes were fine. I saw my energy levels up. I saw different things happening with my skin condition clearing up. And I started seeing all the acid reflux that I had all of a sudden go away. And it was like everything started changing. And also the issue that I had with my brain dysregulation, which I talk about having 2 brain dysregulations, I saw that also go away. Hey, Anna, so good to see you on here. And so this diet, this lifestyle has totally changed my life. I tell people everywhere I go, I preach Jesus first, salvation first, and then I preach the ketogenic diet second, because I see so many people out there that complain about their illnesses, they complain about diagnosis, they complain about being diagnosed even with cancer, with diabetes, with all of these issues. And I'm telling you, saints of God, this can all be alleviated with all the studies that I've done, all the intense research, because I've contributed at least 150 to 200 hours in studying the ketogenic diet from the experts over the last almost year and a half. And I can tell you, whatever disease you have, that this diet is an answer to your disease. Now, everybody responds differently to the diet, so you have to go at your own pace, and you have to realize you're individual, and you have to calibrate it according to what fits your needs. So let's look at the diet in general. When you start the diet, you're going to do 75% fat. Those are good fats, your olive oil, real butter, avocado, coconut oil, and of course what I have here, and again it's backwards, it's MCT oil. MCT oil, it means medium chain triglyceride. I save super money. I do not want to have to spend one more penny than I have to because it's waste. And so I get whoever has the best deal on whatever it is out there that I'm wanting. They're the ones that are going to get my business because they're providing me the prices that I want. And a lot of people look at this diet and they think, oh, it's too expensive, I can't do this diet. That is not the case. This diet costs no different than the diet that you're on with processed foods that are not good for you. In fact, this diet for us is actually cheaper for Rich and I to do. And our meals are simple, they're easy. We know they're planned. And it makes life easier and also more enjoyable. And we get to get all this good health where we feel absolutely amazing. So let's look at when you're starting the ketogenic diet. When I started it, I listen to several experts out there in the field, and also one of the experts that you definitely want to get into when you're looking at the ketogenic diet is Dr. Berg. I know this is backwards, but if you can get a hold of this book, this camera is hard to get a hold of this. If you can get a hold of this book, The Principles of Fat Burning by Dr. Berg, B-E-R-G, I would encourage you highly, strongly to get this book. This is absolutely amazing book. I got this after I was on the ketogenic diet. Also, Dr. Berg has awesome YouTube videos. He is one of my go-to people. He is an awesome teacher. He's a chiropractor, but oh my goodness, he is like Mr. Ketogenic Diet. And we're also going to talk about briefly what I've also been doing that Dr. Berg really encourages people that are on the ketogenic diet to eventually get into. After you're on the ketogenic diet for a while, you're going to want to go into intermittent fasting, but we'll get into that in a minute. When you're first starting the ketogenic diet, a lot of the experts say that you need to get 200 grams of good fat in a day. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that is a lot of calories and it's a lot of fat and it's hard to get in. So one of the avenues that I got my fat in at the beginning was through drinks. We see coffee that can be blended, which I'll get into in a minute. Coffee can be blended with 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, and put you some stevia in there and you blend it. And for the holiday season, if you put your little cinnamon in there, or if you want to do a pumpkin latte, you put your pumpkin in there. Oh my goodness, it is the best and yummiest drink. So I would get either hot teas or I would get what we're going to look at, Dandy Blend. And this Dandy Blend is D-A-N-D-Y. It's for dandelion and chicory. And it has an instant coffee taste. That is the best description for me. When I was doing missionary work over in the Philippines for about a month in 2011, I was able to drink that instant coffee from the Philippines, and I absolutely loved the Filipino instant coffee. It's totally different than instant coffee in the United States of America. But when I got this Dandy Blend, God told me, because my sister introduced me to Dandy Blend a very long time ago, and she does an iced drink. But God said, Robin, remember that stuff that your sister told you about? I want you to get that stuff because I needed to get all my fats in and I could not get it in my meals. I could only get so much fat into my meals and I needed to really up my fat in order to switch my burning system, my fuel system, which we'll talk more about in a minute, from being glucose burning to being a fat burning system machine. Amen. Because when you switch from burning glucose to being a fat burner and you're using your fat as your fuel source, it begins to heal your body. It begins to turn off bad genetic expressions in metabolic pathways in your body. And it turns on those good metabolic pathways of genetic expressions. And it causes you to be the best person that you can be. So I got this Dandy Blend, and all you need is 1 teaspoon of this with hot water, a tablespoon of butter, a tablespoon of coconut oil. And like I said, Rich and I in the holiday season, we put a little cinnamon in there and stevia. And oh my goodness, you blend it up in your magic bullet and you have got the best latte ever. Oh my goodness, it is absolutely amazing. So Rich and I usually always do tablespoon of butter, tablespoon of coconut oil. However, if our coffee is a little bit bigger, say on Saturday morning, we have a little bit bigger coffee, we're going to go a little bit over on that tablespoon and maybe do a tablespoon and a half or a tablespoon and a third according to the size of the coffee. Also, for our night drink, our night drink is always Dandy Blend, because one of the things that you're going to be interested in on the ketogenic diet, one of the things you're going to learn about is the hormone called insulin, because when your insulin levels are up, that means your glucose level is up. That means you're not able to be a fat burning mode because it has to go low. Your insulin has to go low. Your sugar has to go low in order for your body to start grabbing the triglycerides in your fat content and start breaking it down and causing that to be a fuel source in your body. Because before you ever get into fat burning mode, you have to bring those carbs really low. There's no sugar at all. None. Bring the carbs really low and then increase your fats. And so your body is going to be invaded by all these fatty acids, which is really awesome. And once it starts going all throughout your body, your liver starts recognizing all these fatty acids that are being produced in your body, and it's almost like that is being raised up. And once it gets up to a certain level, all of a sudden your liver goes into the process of producing those actual ketones, because your ketones are actually going to be produced in your liver, which is a certain type called beta hydroxybutyrate, which we will get into more in a minute, because we need more information about this diet. So let's look at this. So our MCT oil, I would probably start off, if it were me, I did start off and I did try to do 3 times MCT oil. This is a coconut oil. It's a specialized coconut oil. It's MCT. It's medium chain triglyceride. So it's activated. It comes and it activates a lot faster than your regular coconut oil. So this is an awesome oil. This MCT oil. This is an awesome oil to start your ketogenic diet on. I go online. I've gotten MCT oil at different locations. There are places that have really good prices. For me, I am going to get my MCT oil from whoever has the best price. And just FYI, if you don't watch the certain MCT oils you get and you have carbon chains, I think it's a carbon chain of 6, a carbon chain of 10, and a carbon chain of 12. I can't remember all of them, but I had all 3 of those in one particular MCT oil, and it kept me in the bathroom all day. You do not want that kind of an MCT oil. You want an MCT oil that doesn't have all of those that are going to keep you in a place where your stomach is just torn up. You don't need your stomach torn up. So the one that I like using is actually Now Sports. Now Sports is a great MCT oil, and we put that in our drink every night, our Dandy Blend, with butter and stevia. But again, in the beginning, I used this probably about 3 times a day. But now I use coconut oil during my day, and I use MCT oil at night. I also found that I was able to go to sleep really, really well for some reason when I had my evening latte, my Dandy Blend latte, my ketogenic latte. When I had that with MCT oil, for some reason, I just seemed to go to sleep better. Also, I mentioned yesterday about sodium and potassium, and I showed you with the bouillon cubes, you have to, in the beginning, it is necessary for you to keep your sodium levels up, because when you carb deplete, you're going to be urinating all this sodium out of your body. And so you need to keep those sodium levels up. So you need to keep those bouillon cubes on you. Take them to work, keep them at home. Just pop you in some hot water and put a bouillon cube in it, let it dissolve, and drink you some bouillon. For me, when I had the keto flu at the first 3 weeks at the beginning of the ketogenic diet, I went straight from here, cold turkey, all the way to probably about 8 to 20 grams a day of carbs. And I had a ketogenic flu, and I had such severe headaches, had such severe body aches. I felt horrible. So those bouillon cubes really made a difference. Anytime I feel a headache, anytime I just feel out of sorts, I'm going to be increasing my sodium. I'm going to pop in my water in my mug, get it in the microwave, put it in my bouillon cube, and I'm going to be drinking it. That is immediately go-to thing. But also, before you go to bed, it is necessary while you're on the ketogenic diet to also make sure you're doing your potassium. Your potassium cannot get low. And also, when we're looking at the ketogenic diet, it is a diet that is anabolic. What does that mean? It does not break down your muscle. It does the opposite. It builds up your muscle. Catabolic breaks down. So when you're on a glucose diet, when you're on a regular diet, it's glucose, and you're working out at the gym, it's still going to be catabolic, and it's going to start breaking down your muscle even when you work out. Whereas on a ketogenic diet, when you're working out at the gym, it's anabolic and it's muscle preserving. So when you work out at the gym on a ketogenic diet, it is going to be muscle producing. On this diet, I've only been on it almost a year and a half, I've told you. I have gained 4 to 5 pounds of muscle. 4 to 5 pounds of muscle. Rich and I work out on weights every day at the gym. I also walk. I incorporate walking into my daily schedule. But Rich and I work in lifting weights and weightlifting in the gym at least 4 days a week. And we go into different body parts, and we have back, we have shoulders, we have triceps, biceps, we have chest, we have legs, and we work on those different body parts and different groupings all throughout the week. And I could only lift so much before the ketogenic diet, but after being on the ketogenic diet, my strength went up and I was able to lift more weights. My muscle began to get more solid, and I began to see an even distribution of what my body type is. When you go to the ketogenic diet, you have to understand your body type. You don't know your body type. You think you know your body type, or you think you know what you want your body type to be, but you cannot resist the map inside of your body. What do I mean? Your body is already designed to be what it's created to be. God designed our body. He gave us our DNA. He gave us the chromosomes. We are uniquely crafted and divined by God. And so he has mapped how our bodies to be. And a lot of people look at someone else, like for women, a good example is looking at a magazine and seeing this real skinny, tall woman. And immediately this shorter woman like me, who's only 5'1.5", will look at somebody like that. And I'm not saying I do, but would look at someone like that and say, oh man, I wish I had skinny legs like that. Or I wish I had this. And I have discovered on this ketogenic diet that your body knows the healthy way to be. And if you are a person that is more sports and athletic, your body's just going to be that way. And you need to be able to enjoy that. And if you are someone that has very lean body, and that is the look that God has given you and the map that God has given you, then you need to be able to enjoy what God's given you. And so before this diet, I had always, when I had dieted, I'd always had real skinny legs and had a body type. And of course, my arms always get really lean. But one of the things that I've always wanted and always tried to get and have gotten many, many times, so I was dieted, is just very lean legs. Now, I have lean legs, but the thing is they have meat on them. I have some muscles in my legs. But when I was 18 years old in about 1986 and I was a lifeguard, I discovered my body type. I was always cheerleader. I was always in sports and athletics. And I found out that year when I was a lifeguard and I was teaching swimming lessons that my muscles would just get large. And that is the natural leaning that my body goes towards. It's that body memory that is created within my person, that when I get all this strength, that my body's going to start being proportionate exactly how it's supposed to be. So I found out that my body type is a very athletic body type. And I'm saying that to you because when you are on this ketogenic lifestyle, your body type is going to come into form, and you're going to see how your muscles develop. You're going to see your shape and how your shape develops. And you need to appreciate the body that God has given you. Also, before we get further, I just want to emphasize this. For the women who are in menopause or perimenopause, this diet for you is totally different. It's a whole different subject matter for you, women group, than it is for just the regular person or other people. And I can tell you this because this has been my experience. Being perimenopause and being in a state where your hormones are different and they're fluctuating, and you're going into a season of a different season where God is ushering you into a different season. Well, I discovered after being on this diet, as I did more research, that it was totally different, and it was a whole different process because of our hormone issue, that those fats that we ingest in our body, those fats not only convert into ketones, but also we use those fats in order that they convert into hormones. And so your adrenals take in fats, and it's like a hormone factory. Your adrenal is like a hormone factory. It takes in fats and it brings out a hormone. It takes a fat in and it creates estrogen. It takes a fat in and it creates another hormone. And so when you're doing this ketogenic diet, if you're perimenopause or if you're menopause, I have to ask you, please, 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 do not give up on this diet. Stay the course, and you're going to be so amazed. And if you're in that group that I just mentioned, I just want to tell you, for a few months, just put your scale to the side. If you want to, if you're going to stay into this diet and you don't want to give up, I would encourage you to put your scale to the side, because in order for your body to heal, you will gain weight. If you don't have much weight to lose, you will gain weight. This was my experience. And while Rich lost 10 pounds, I was excited for him. I lost a couple of pounds, and then all of a sudden my weight started going up, and it started going from losing 2 pounds to I gained the 2 pounds back, and then I got another, and my weight just started increasing and increasing and increasing, where I was getting a pound a month. and then a pound, actually every 2 weeks, a pound every 2 weeks on me. And I was getting discouraged, and I was doing all this research, and I already knew that Dr. Pompa, and he's awesome, Dr. Pompa, P-O-M-P-A. If you ever wanted to watch a really good video, he interviews Dr. D'Agostino. I'm going to put that interview up on my wall today. But also, he does a great interview on the ketogenic diet and a great breakdown about working at the cellular level, metabolism at the cellular level, in order to understand how your cells metabolize all that comes into its area. But one of the things that I understood about Dr. Pompa's wife is she also had areas in which she was struggling with the ketogenic diet, and she had difficulty getting into ketosis, where it was registering on that precision blood tone ketone meter the blood ketone meter that I showed you yesterday. And I'll try to get that out today again. It's both a glucose meter and a ketone meter. But again, ketone strips, in fact, let me grab it right now before I forget. Ketone strips are very, very expensive. Oh my goodness. You can check with your blood glucose. If your blood glucose, like we'll check blood glucose because those are a lot cheaper just to check blood glucose. It is a lot cheaper to check blood glucose than it is to check your ketone. Here is a ketone strip. Here is a ketone strip. You see this color? That's a more purpley color. This one's a more bluer color. You see the difference between those two colors? I know it's a little hard to see. One of them is a glucose strip. One of them is a ketone strip. The glucose strips are super affordable. They're affordable. And I always go on eBay. I go on eBay for everything because even Amazon sells on eBay that you just don't know it's Amazon. And you find out later when you get the package that it comes in an Amazon box that it actually Amazon is selling on eBay. So I go on eBay and I will get, and I haven't ordered these in a very long time just because I've been in ketosis. I have not needed to really measure my ketones, but I did the other day, as I mentioned on here. This is a little meter. It's by Precision Extra. It's a Precision Extra. Make sure you look on eBay, and it's going to be ketone, and it's also going to be glucose. But this is Precision Extra, and I showed you the other day I tested my ketones, and it's backwards. It's a 1.4, and then Rich, the last time he did it was a 2.3. But you want your numbers to be a 0.5 and above. If you're 0.5 and above, then you are burning ketones. Ketones are your fuel source. And when you start burning ketones, that's when the magic happens in your body. Oh my goodness. That is when everything starts happening inside of you and the transformation starts taking place inside your body, where you start getting healed, where your body is doing what God designed it to be, and you start getting healed of different diseases. And we're going to look at just a few more things about that to get more understanding that Dr. D'Agostino does an incredible YouTube video about. And he is one of the leading doctors as it goes with the ketogenic diet. He actually, Rich is very interested in him because Rich used to be a bodybuilder. Rich actually competed in competitive bodybuilding and actually went to the nationals. I think it was in 1992. I think Rich went to nationals in 1992. But Rich really appreciates Dr. D'Agostino because not only is a leading researcher, but he's also a former bodybuilder. So Rich could really appreciate that. But Dr. D'Agostino is working on a project, especially with the Navy SEALs, because one of the things that a ketogenic diet does, it is also what stops seizures. So on the Epilepsy Foundation, on their site, they have the ketogenic diet as a main diet of course. But also deep divers in the Navy SEALs also have seizures because of that deep diving. And so they're on that ketogenic diet because it's going to prevent those seizures in your brain. You're going to immediately feel a massive difference in your brain on the ketogenic diet. Being an author and a minister, oh my goodness. Because think about it. Oh, let me grab one of my books just to show you guys. One of my books. I'm still waiting on my new book. I always get my books 2 weeks later than you guys because I get them straight from CreateSpace. But this is my new book. Okay, see how thick that book is? That is like, in a year's time, I've written 7 books. 7 books in a year's time, and they're all on Amazon. I would not have been able to write those books had it not been for God. Or 8 books on Amazon, 8 books on Amazon in a year. I would not have been able to write all those books and get them onto Amazon had I not been on the ketogenic diet. God knew my call. He knew what he had planned for me. And he told me to get on the ketogenic diet in order that I could have the ability, the alertness to be able to do the diet. One of the things with a ketogenic diet is you are going to immediately notice massive changes in your brain. You're going to notice alertness. You're going to notice energy. And I'll get into in a second how I get up in the morning. And now Rich and I do the intermittent fasting. And so our diet actually does not even take place until 2 p.m. in the middle of the day. And that is when I've had my first drink and maybe we'll have some bacon and then later on eat dinner with Rich. But our window to eat on the intermittent fasting ketogenic diet is actually about a 5-hour window. We want all of our eating, all of our fats, they have to be in a 5-hour window. And also, we don't take as much fats as we did in the very beginning because we got fat adapted. Once you get fat adapted, or what they call keto adapted, that means your body is a fat burning fuel source. And you know, first and foremost, because of the energy levels, you know that different symptoms that you had of different dis-ease or different ailments that you had are going away. And you notice, of course, that you're getting fuller. And you're going to discover on the ketogenic diet that you get super, super full. That it is hard for you to finish a meal because your brain is getting all those oils put into it. And those oils that you're taking in go to your brain and they tell your brain that you're full. And you are so satiated. You do not have hunger pains. You do not have hunger at all on the ketogenic diet when you're doing it correctly because you're fat adapted. And that is why it's easy to intermittent fast. And for me, I do water all through the day. And at 2 p.m., I'll do my ketogenic bulletproof coffee or coffee with a tablespoon of butter, a tablespoon of coconut oil, stevia. And that is a meal for me. And then later on, I'll actually do our dinner. And that is pretty much it. If I don't do 3 pieces of bacon, I always love to keep much bacon on hand because we are a bacon family. We love some bacon. And so one of the ways we get fat in is eating bacon as well. But when we look at the ketogenic diet, we're looking at ways in which we are changing our fuel source from glucose to keto, to ketones. And again, we have to take those carbs low. And as those carbs go low, simultaneously, the fats have to go high. And once the fats start going high, all of a sudden there's a transition. Those fatty acids are released inside of us. As that glucose level goes low, as that insulin level goes low, all of a sudden now we have fat available for our body to take from and break it down and use it as a fuel source in our body. And again, I mentioned yesterday that once that insulin level comes down, once the blood glucose level comes down, then you have your body taking a specific hormone that takes your triglyceride and it breaks it down into 4 components. One component is glycerol, which will later on turn into glucose. So you have no problem at all having a moderate level of glucose, enough for you to be sustained on the ketogenic diet as a lifestyle, because those other 3 components that are broken down are all fatty acids. So you have 3 components of fatty acids. Once it takes that triglyceride, it makes a glycerol, it makes 3 fatty acids. Those 3 fatty acids are going to go through the process where it can turn into ketones. Immediately, those fatty acids are going into cells and they're going into mitochondria. Your mitochondria are the powerhouse of a cell. It gives your cell fuel. It's what brings power and energy to your cell. And so your mitochondria are very important in your body. As we get older, our mitochondria decrease. So for an example, in a liver, in a healthy liver, let's say probably in the 20s, there is a normal range to have about 2,000 mitochondria in your liver. But as we get older, or when there's different degenerative diseases or different ailments that we experience, or we're not taking care of our body, we're eating processed foods, we're eating too many carbs, we're eating too many sugars, all of a sudden those mitochondria start dying off. The interesting thing about the ketogenic diet, unlike any other diet out there, is that it has mitochondria biogenesis. It is an interesting, very intriguing phenomenon that occurs in our body. And Dr. D'Agostino does an excellent teaching on this. I've listened to several of his teachings, particularly on mitochondria biogenesis. And what mitochondria biogenesis means is that we have new mitochondria born in our body. So if you have less mitochondria in your liver, let's say you have a dis-ease in your body and you get on the ketogenic diet, the neat thing about the ketogenic diet is it is going to up-regulate mitochondria, and it is going to be changing the dynamics of your digestive enzymes in order that you are able to digest these oils. And as we get into that, I wanted to bring up some of these enzymes that I use. And let me grab one more thing just to show you guys while you're on here. And just FYI, I did lose all the fat that I gained, and I've lost more. And on top of that, I have gained muscle. So I could not be happier. Oh my goodness. I probably only want to lose 5 to 7 more pounds. I will be super, super happy losing 5 to 7 more pounds. But I'm happy now. And as you get on the ketogenic diet, one of the things that I learned from the ketogenic diet, where I did not really learn it in the church, that really needs to be emphasized is our need to not be stressed out. Because you can be on this diet and be doing all the things that are good for your body, but if you live a life of chronic stress, then it defeats the purpose, because that stress is going to knock your blood glucose up, it's going to knock your sugar levels up, and it's going to send your insulin up. And so all the dieting you're eating, all the good lifestyle that you're eating defeats the purpose if you live a life of chronic stress. And so once you start this ketogenic lifestyle, make it a goal that you are going to guard your peace and not get stressed out so easily. I discovered probably about 9-10 months after being on the diet, God told me, he said, Robin, there's another supplement that you need to be taking to help you on your diet. One of the things is that when you ingest these oils, because it's so much oil, one of the areas that I started noticing is that I would belch, I would burp, or I would just have this area where it felt like it was I was not properly digesting the oils. And what I discovered was I had an issue with my gallbladder, because it is very difficult to digest oils and protein. We need our gallbladder to help us to digest oils and protein properly. And the bile that's in that gallbladder area, that bile that gets released, is like a laundry detergent, and it helps break down those oils that you're ingesting in your diet, and it helps break down the protein. So I got on what's called ox bile. Now this is for me, and again, talk to your physician, talk to your nutritionist. But God told me to get on ox bile. So I got on ox bile, and it totally was a game changer. It totally was a game changer. And I was thinking, why have I not heard anybody talk about this before? So those of you who have GERD, who have issues in having acid reflux, if you're on the ketogenic diet, very much consider talking to your physician about ox bile, because I know with me that was an area that I needed help on, and it totally was a game changer. I also use ox bile that's in this Ultrazyme of Nature's Plus. Nature's Plus has an Ultrazyme. I use regular ox bile. This is my nighttime 500 milligrams. I'm going to take this 500 milligrams in my nighttime meal. When I wake up in the morning, even when I'm fasting, I'll take an Ultrazyme. This has got 100 grams of ox bile in it. I think it's 100 or 120. It's got 100 or 120. Let me look on the back of it. Let me put my glasses on, and we'll get to questions in a minute. This has 120 milligrams on it. And again, I shop eBay. eBay is going to have the best deals. Unless you have somebody that'll give you a better deal than eBay, I get on eBay and I'm finding whoever's going to give me the best deal. And this has other different ingredients with it that help and work with ox bile in order for your body to digest. It has pancreatin, it has glutamic acid, it has acidophilus, ox bile, bromelain, pepsin, it has cellulase. Cellulase is very good with that. And it has lactase. Lactase is really good with that. This is my morning time ox bile. I'm going to get this in the morning. And also, if you don't have a gallbladder, Kathy, you definitely want to get on some ox bile. If you don't have a gallbladder, you definitely want to talk to your doctor about ox bile. It is a game changer, because a lot of vitamins, especially like A1, vitamin A, K1, K2, they are fat-soluble vitamins. And I read a testimony of some guy on Amazon. I think it was with this ox ball. No, I'm sorry. It was with this ox ball. I read his testimony on Amazon. A vitamin helps with eyesight. And he had actually started going blind. And all he changed was adding ox bile to his diet, and all of his vision came back. Why? Because A is a fat-soluble vitamin, and that vitamin A helps with our vision. Is that not absolutely amazing? But I use this one along with the regular ox bile. I use these two at night with dinner time, and I'm actually starting to slow up on the ox bile as I've been on it longer and not use it as much. I used to take 2 of these in the morning. Now I'm taking 1. I used to do all of these both at night. Now I'm kind of holding back maybe on one or the other at night. But this is also super enzyme. Super enzyme by now. It has your ox bile at 100 milligrams. It has also this certain ingredient I was looking for. It has protease. I was looking for some protease because that actually helps in the digestive process with ox bile. It complements it. Again, before I get into more stuff, I want to mention again the necessary issue for your sodium and potassium. I take my potassium at night because I notice it makes me sleepy, and you have to get a lot of potassium in your system. This woman, Norga Gaddis, she is not a Christian, but she is, oh my goodness, she knows her stuff. She knows about the ketogenic diet. She has lived a life. She was majorly depressed. She had major anxiety. She had brain dysregulation. And she became a nutritionist and got on the ketogenic diet. It's her lifestyle. It's basically all she does is mainly the ketogenic diet. And she just with several clients that have issues. And so she is one person that I actually enjoy reading because her stuff is right on as it relates to information, especially in statistics and studies that have been done, especially with her clients. And also the latest research that she has that I actually put in my newest book, some of the latest research, especially with the stress response. But when it comes to different supplements, she always says that it's always on the bottle too little, and she always takes more. Norga Gaddis always takes more. And so we could not ingest enough potassium. And so what I did was order this particular, I know you can't see it, I know it's backwards. It's potassium bicarbonate. I know you can't see it. Got it from eBay. Only $13. And we take a gallon of water and we put a teaspoon and a third of this potassium bicarbonate in a gallon of water and shake it up. And we drink that with our nighttime supplements right before we go to bed. And that potassium is really going to help you in your area when it comes to the ketogenic diet, because when you are looking at specific things that you're going to be dealing with in this lifestyle, you're going to be looking at changes in your sleep patterns. Not only are you going to have to be fat adapted, keto adapted, to see significant changes in your body, but you're also going to be sleep adapted. One of the areas where a lot of people have issue and they do not realize it, and it's because of their cortisol circadian rhythm is off. And that cortisol circadian rhythm is our natural gift designed by God, given to us, that when we wake in the morning, our natural cortisol circadian rhythm is going up, and it's like our wake up system. It's our alert system in the morning to alert us to wake up. And then gradually through the day, towards the night, it's going to start decreasing, and melatonin is going to start increasing, which is the opposite, and that's going to make you sleepy as cortisol makes you more alert. A lot of people have this dysregulation. It's a cortisol circadian rhythm dysregulation in their brain, and they need to get it back on track. So when you're on the ketogenic diet, one of the things that helped me specifically in that cortisol circadian rhythm was potassium bicarbonate. And I was able to get more sleep, feel more rested, because it's going to be in that sleep time that your ketones are really going to go at work. And also your blood sugar is really going to drop. You're not eating, you're fasting, but you're also still. And so that is really going to be your fat burning mode state, is when you're in the bed, when you're sleeping. And so you have to really get that rested state. A lot of people say about 8 hours of sleep. I generally get about 6 to 7 hours of sleep. That works for me. But in that state, you're also going to see your human growth hormone increase. Your human growth hormone is so amazing. It is actually what helps you in building muscle and getting strength. it actually helps you in your youthfulness. Oh my goodness, I feel so youthful. And I have noticed a massive change in my human growth hormone, because as you get older, your human growth hormone decreases. But on this ketogenic diet, my human growth hormone has increased. I have noticed a difference, and I have gotten more strength. I've gotten more muscle. But let's look at a couple of other things on this ketogenic diet and what can help you. And I'm going to answer some questions that you might have out there. We're looking at a change in lifestyle. We're looking at a change in lifestyle. So those of you who get on this diet, you cannot look at it as a weight loss diet. You cannot look at it like that. If you are going into this diet looking at it like that, then you are defeating the purpose, and you're not going to get the fullness of the benefits that are given for this diet that God has given us as a gift, to put the fat on the altar, to let the fat be our fuel source. But if you go into it going, you know what, I'm going to be committed and do what I can, and I'm going to do the best that I can, and I'm not going to give up even when I don't see the changes that I want. You have to understand a way in which you can measure your success on this ketogenic diet is by your feelings of energy, by the way that you feel. Do you just feel calm? Because when that ketogenic diet is working, your GABA level goes up, your stress level comes down, and you just feel good, you feel happy, and you just have this calmness, this wellness about you, or this excitement and this vitality, because these are components that are natural indicators that you are actually becoming keto adapted, fat adapted. So if you go by that and you don't go by the scale, because there were many times that I was feeling great and I saw a pound get on the scale, and I had to get that out of my mind, and I had to be in the mindset, thank you, God, I am who I am, that you've made me, and my body is getting into proportion, and I am going to be the most incredible, best me that I can be, and I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to live healthy, I'm going to eat clean and be clean, and I'm going to feel the best that I can be. If you go in with that mindset, you will have a massive success in the ketogenic diet. Again, it took 9 months for me to really see changes on the scale, for me to see a massive difference on the scale, and not many people are willing to hang in that long. But if you are in that women population of perimenopause, menopause, I just have to tell you and let you know in advance, do not be looking at the scale. Be looking at your energy level. Be looking at your alertness. Be looking at your mood. Are you feeling better? Are you in a greater mood? Those are indicators of the ketogenic diet being successful. Let me tell you a few more things before we end here as we get ready for me to answer questions, and I'll try to do the best that I can. If I can't, I will refer you to a website or somewhere to get your questions answered. But in this ketogenic diet, it is important to start out making sure the sodium and potassium levels are good. It's important to start out in a place where you know that you are doing the best you can to take care of your body, increasing the fat. And then as you've been on the ketogenic diet for a while, I would highly encourage you to get into intermittent fasting. So let me see what questions you all have for me. And I'm sure I didn't cover stuff, but maybe some of your questions can, if y'all have them, maybe me answering them will actually cover what I was hoping to cover, because I cannot remember anything else that I was going to cover. How much water? Dr. Berg, that I mentioned earlier, and I totally agree with Dr. Berg. Let me get his book. Dr. Berg, Eric Berg, right here. Eric Berg, I know it's backwards. And if you can get on his YouTube channel, Anna, get on his YouTube channel. If I could refer y'all to any YouTube channels, Eric Berg, get on his YouTube channel. He is like Mr. Expert at ketogenic diet. And again, he's a chiropractor, and he also actually has ox bile salts as well that he encourages some of his clients to use. So water, Dr. Berg says your body knows when you need water. Your body knows when you need water. For me, to be honest, I will drink probably a glass or two a day. The rest of the day, I'm getting it in my Dandy Blend, or I'm getting it in another avenue of apple cider vinegar. If I'm drinking my apple cider vinegar as a drink, I just let my body, just like Dr. Berg, my body's going to tell me when I need more water. I also do that potassium in a cup, probably about a cup and a half of water. At nighttime, I have my potassium in that. And so at nighttime, I'm also going to bed with a full cup and a half of water. So that's what I do for me, Anna. I hope that helps. But Dr. Berg is awesome. Yes, ox bile. Oh my goodness. You'll love this, Helene. Ox bile, I found out. God told me at about 9 months into the diet. He said, Robin, there's another supplement that you need to get on. And all of a sudden, Christy Melton texts me and she said, Robin, have you heard of ox bile? And God said, that's the supplement that I was telling you need to get on. And I said, no, I've never heard of ox bile. What is ox bile? And I had ingesting these fats, eating these fats and taking them in, drinking them and eating them. I had difficulty burping, and it was hard for me not to take in the fats and burp. And I found out that the reason that it was difficult is that my bile was not working as it should to break down those fats. And so I added these ox bile. This is 500 grams of ox bile, but I also have Ultrazyme that has ox bile with other digestive enzymes that I use, and I also use super enzyme. I usually use these two with my evening meal, and then I use this in the morning when I wake up. And so those are the ox bile. And if you are on this diet, most people do not realize that they have a bad gallbladder, or if they don't have a gallbladder, oh my goodness, ox bile is awesome. It will totally be the game changer. And the weight started melting off because my body started processing and digesting the fat like it should, and weight started melting off once I added the ox bile. So I hope that helps, Helene. Crystal, how much potassium magnesium should we get? Now, according to Norga Gaudas, she believes that people are not doing exactly the levels that they need. And I really, really love her. Let me let me get to her and get to what she says about potassium, because that will really be, that will help more than my own person giving it to you. I don't see the actual pages on, but for me, I take with this potassium bicarbonate, this right here is potassium bicarbonate. And again, potassium can get expensive. I have a magnesium potassium blend where I take that as well, and I take one pill. So I take that recommended dosage that they put on the bottle, Crystal, but I also add, in addition to that, I add my potassium bicarbonate. And I noticed when I added potassium bicarbonate, it was a game changer. It was a game changer for me. And I take it right before I go to bed, and I take it, Crystal, where you put 1 1/3 teaspoon of this. It's like white powder stuff. It's so ground so small that once you put it in the water, it's going to dissolve just like that. I mean, it dissolves instantly. And you can notice a taste difference. You can notice a change in the taste. And even though it's only 1 1/3 teaspoon in that entire gallon of water, oh my goodness, Crystal, the first night I took this kept me in the bathroom. This stuff is potent, and it was only 1 1/3 teaspoon in an entire gallon. So maybe a few granules of this was actually in my drink, but this thing right here, Crystal, for me was a game changer. And again, I'm trying to get the light to where it's not so dark. Hold on. Well, it's dark in here for some reason, but it's potassium bicarbonate, and this was a game changer for me. And again, the ketogenic diet is an individual basis diet. You have to do it according to what works for you. People have been healed of cancer. People have Crohn's. If you have diabetes, I told you I had hypoglycemia when I started this diet, and that is a precursor to diabetes. And a lot of people are in the hypoglycemia range, and it's because you're eating processed foods that you were never designed to eat. Also, I see, oh wow, Helene, I'm praying for Clark that he doesn't vomit bile anymore in Jesus' name, but he stays. You might want to talk to his doctor about ox bile, Helene. Talk to his doctor over there at the VA. Oh yes, Crystal, you will love. So glad you and Nancy are doing it together. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you brought that up, Crystal, because if it were me, I would have started my children out on this when they were little. There are children that have seizures, that have drug refractory seizures, that means that drugs, medications will not stop their seizures. And so those children do the ketogenic diet. And I wish I would have known about this when my children were younger, because this was what I would have kept them on. Yes, awesome, Anna. Yes, and Crystal. Oh, yes, I love my Ultrazyme. I love Ultrazyme, and it is such an awesome game changer for me. I noticed the biggest difference after being on the ketogenic diet a while is that when I added the ox bile, my body was able to absorb the fats more. And also, as we get ready to get off, and also when I went, like I said, if you can do the ketogenic diet, get your fat up, get keto adapted, and then move into intermittent fasting, your fat is going to come way down. I probably don't even get maybe, but about half of that fat, maybe 100 grams nowadays, just because I only eat one meal a day, and then I have that coffee at 2 p.m. with my fat in it, so I don't have as much fat. But I'm telling you, it's a game changer. If you can move to intermittent fasting, it will be total game changer for you. Awesome. Let's see. Okay, Anna, spinal stenosis, a disc sitting on a nerve. Wow. But you need relief, muscle spasms. This will not hurt. I can tell you that. If anything, it will help, because it will help in the brain, in that area of where you have those messages of pain come to you. It will help in areas where hopefully that inflammation that's in your body because of that area. This actually, the ketogenic diet works on inflammation, and it decreases inflammation. So hopefully it will work on that. Oh, wow. Crystal, so how has it worked for you being on the ketogenic diet for your hernias, for your herniated disc? Has it worked for you? Anna has muscle spasms because of her disc, and Crystal has 3 herniated discs that are painful. And I know Crystal's been on the diet for a while now. So, Crystal, let us know how it has done for you. Has it worked for you in that area? I'm going to wait just a minute, and we're almost through. I thank you all for being on here with me. It has been such a blessing. Well, hopefully that has covered enough. And if we need to do another video, we will do another video at another time. But this should give you some information in order to start out a ketogenic lifestyle. And as it has done for me, I know it will be successful for you. And if I could give you any words of encouragement, I would tell you, hang the course. Stay with it. Stick with it. And you're going to see a change in your life, and you're going to notice a greater quality of life. Thank you for joining in, and I will see you later in a little bit when I come back and do an exhortation. God bless you. I'll see you later.